This is Spider-Man, and so is this, and this, and this, and all of these, but which has the best powers? Today, you're gonna choose one of 4 spider power variations across the Spider-Verse. See what I did there? And we'll see how powerful, reliable, and fun they would be to have, so that when the genie asks you to pick one, you know exactly which one to choose. And if you think you know the best one, my guess is you're probably right. Allow me to set the rules. Since there is literally an infinite amount of spider totems in the multiverse, I've decided to narrow the choices down to the 4 most mainstream types, abstaining myself from either stepping into the wacky and unviable powers or the straight up cosmic and godlike beings. However, I will be making some well-deserved honorable mentions at the end, so stick around to find out who those are. Finally, we're solely gonna focus on the powers themselves, excluding stuff like story arcs and physics. But if you want more of a grounded approach, make sure to check out this other video on the matter. Now with that out of the way, the first type of power you can choose from is the good old classic version. The package includes your typical wall crawling, super strength, spider sense, enhanced durability, a healing factor, and a couple of web shooters you can swing around with. So if you're looking for a safe option, this one's for you. But how about one that's a bit more shocking? God, I'm bad at this. Miles Gonzalo Morales is your next option. He's got the same powers as the classic version, plus he can go invisible and has venom powers. No, the electric ones. Dude, that's not even Miles. Yeah, those. And if you think that because of these extra abilities he's simply better than the classic, then wait till we talk about it later. Cause first, we gotta mention the vampire. It's just Miguel O'Hara. Spider-Man 2099 is probably the most interesting version, as it deviates a lot from the classic powers, having stuff like fangs, claws, night vision, but lacking a spider sense and being sensitive to light. We'll dive deeper into his powers and weaknesses in just a sec, after I reveal the last, and arguably coolest option. Black Suit Spider-Man is a stronger and more brutal version of the classic one, as he's bonded with the Venom symbiote. We'll later see if the added strength and durability are worth the weaknesses to fire and high-pitched sounds, and the occasional mood change.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
So now that you've seen the options, choose one of them or follow along by comparing your favorite Spider-Man to one of the 4. And if I missed something important, let me know in the comments below. Oh, and while you're down there, it'd be great if you liked and subscribed. My spider sense tells me you're doing it right about now. Okay, let's jump right into it. Coming in last place, we've got the Black Suit. And it's probably because of the reason you're thinking. As you'll notice throughout the ranking, not everything is about strength and aura, although that is a big factor to be honest. While wearing black might make you physically stronger than the other Spider-Man, that's about it when it comes to advantages, as the suit is famous for being unreliable and hostile, either because it starts using your body while you sleep to do whatever the hell it wants, or because it turns you into the menace Jameson calls you out to be.
Gonna cry?
And that should be enough to rule it out as the worst. But there's a small caveat. There are instances in the comics where wearing a certain type of symbiote, like the anti-venom, has proven to be reliable and extremely useful as you're in full control of the suit. And in the case of anti-venom specifically, you acquire healing powers and immunity to the typical weaknesses of fire and sound. This would be the only instance where the symbiote suit is better than the other versions, if it wasn't for the fact that these good bonds are more of a version of Venom than a spider person, since in most cases it is the symbiote who gives the host superpowers, which doesn't make them a spider person. So because of that, they're getting disqualified. And by the way, I know some of you just said, well, I'm choosing the black suit and whenever it turns evil, I'll ditch it and keep the classic powers. And to that I say, well yeah, that's kinda smart, but kinda cheating too. Regardless, he's getting 4th. And even though the next contestant is better in almost every way, it still deserves 3rd place for missing one crucial feature. Miguel O'Hara isn't your typical spider person. He uses claws to climb, has fangs that can paralyze enemies, shoots organic webs out of the back of his hands, has night and long-range vision, and has a cool cape he can glide with. But it gets even better. His suit is extremely durable, being able to sustain gunshots and acid splashes, as it's made from the same unstable particles that the Fantastic Four use for their suits. He can turn invisible in some comics, and has a theory that actually works.
Lilac, can you please,
Nah, you gotta say it first.
Call for backup.
What?
Call for backup.
Come on.
Please, just...
Yeah, I already called her.
So, what's the missing feature? Well...
I'll take it from here.
Okay, knock yourself out.
Why are you saying it like that?
Did you catch it? If there's an ability that makes Spider-Man as strong as he is, it's gotta be his spider sense. The ability to sense incoming/nearby threats. And Miguel O'Hara just doesn't have one. This power alone is what makes the difference between an agile and powerful Spider-Man and a glorified gymnast. And if you think that I'm exaggerating, well, obviously. However, we're gonna play a minigame to see how bad not having a spider sense really is. Welcome to Replacing 2099, the show where we take iconic Spider-Man scenes and replace the hero with Spider-Man 2099 to see how he would fare in these situations. Ready? Let's begin. 2099 escaping the Spider Society. Not only is he slower than Miles, but let's be honest, he would have been caught 10 times over, as the lack of spider sense wouldn't have allowed him to dodge half the spider people chasing him. 2099 versus Mysterio. Actually, he should be fine here, as his bulletproof suit would protect him from the drones, unless it was damaged. In that case, he'd probably be struggling here. 2099 versus No Way Home. Apart from obviously losing 10 seconds into the Doctor Strange fight, as the wizard would have just taken the box from his hands, he also would have been late to spot Norman's descent into madness. And just like this line suggests,
Look, it's not important. All we gotta do is focus, trust your tingle, and coordinate our attacks, okay?
Yes.
we can confirm that he most likely would have struggled in the final fight due to the extreme sensory overload. So kids, what did we learn? Well, that although it isn't a necessary ability to have, the Peter Tingle is more useful than people might think. So due to the inconvenience of using claws to climb, the sensitivity to light, and the lack of Spider-Man's most useful skill, then he's going right behind second place, taken by the one and only Classic Oh, you gotta be kidding. Oh hey, you saw the second spot, right? But if you think Miles is number one, I wouldn't be so sure. Just saying. Second place is going to the classic spider powers, and the reason why is pretty simple. Aside from maybe getting the Spider-Man look, which means you can barely pay your rent, and a loved one dies once every few years, these powers don't include any crazy abilities or disadvantages, which gives you a weird but fun advantage above the previous versions. And that's freedom. One day you could build an iron spider suit, the other you could build taser webs, and the other you could use guns. And I know what you're thinking. What's stopping every other spider person from doing the same? Nothing. That's why I'm making second place more of like an honorable mention spot with no particular order on top of the classic powers. So, shall we? Spider-Ham, Earth A311. Looney Tunes looking pig
I'm right here.
called Peter Porker, who appears to have access to the Toon Force, a power that allows him to defy logic and physics whenever it's funny to do so. Webweaver, from The Boys, nah, just kidding. Jessica Drew, Earth 616. Similar abilities to Spider-Man, with the addition of venom blasts and pheromone secretion. However, she glides instead of swinging, so no. Just no. Zombie Spider-Man, Earth 2149. Never mind, he's just disgusting. Madam Web, Earth 616. Connection to the web of life and can see the future, but she's blind and can't move like Daredevil. Penny Parker, Earth 14512. More than looking like a 14-year-old anime superhero, because she is, she's got a genetic bond to the SPDR armor that grants her the usual spider abilities. Anya Corazon, Earth 616. More agile than most spider people, similar to Ghost Spider, and she's got a tattoo that grants her an armored exoskeleton. Cyborg Spider-Man, Earth 2818. Cybernetic enhancements including a sonic cannon. Japanese Spider-Man, Earth 51778. Not really a superpower, but bro's got a huge robot, so that's cool. These are just a few of the 1,000 variants of the spider powers, so if I missed your favorite type, make sure to let me know in the comments. Now with no further ado, let's take a look at our 2 winners of the contest. Wait, 2? If we follow the rules, then yes, Miles' powers win. Sure, he's a bit slower and weaker than Peter, but the added venom and invisibility make up for it in most cases as they're extremely versatile and useful to have. So, what's the 2 winner thing all about? Well, do me a favor and check the title of this video. See how it says, what's the best version of the spider powers? There is no best Spider-Man. Dude, being Spider-Man is the best. And that's because the dream about being Spider-Man is not about being powerful or unstoppable, but simply wearing the mask, regardless of the consequences. So whichever version you think is the best, whether we're talking about superpowers or the character himself, chances are, you're right. Unless it's this guy, in that case, what the fuck? And if you want to know what would happen if you bonded with Venom, watch this video next. And as always, thanks for watching.